Rich Rodriguez continues to prove week after week that he's a genius, and he did it again today, playing a linebacker at running back, and it made the difference.
You are Locked On West Virginia, your daily podcast on the West Virginia Mountaineers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is up, guys? Welcome back in. My name is Mountaineer Paul. I am your host. Welcome back into Locked On West Virginia, baby, where we're talking about a big win today on a fine Saturday evening as the Mountaineers roll today. I'm excited. I'm trying to calm myself down. It's just nice not to be sad after on Saturday for once, for twice now, which is wild to even think about. But here we are. My guest is dancing literally in the background, even though y'all can't see him. So I'm going to bring him on here as we jump through here. Jackson Johnson. This episode of Locked On West Virginia going to be brought to you by our good friends at FanDuel. Right now, guys, if you spend $5, that'll make you holla. And you can get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. Make sure you download FanDuel to get started. And Jackson, Richard Rodriguez does it again.
Yes, he does. He's a genius, man. He's a genius.
Yep. Today was not the first time he did this, and I'm going to go through all the times that he's pulled something like this, or as many as I can remember. We're going to dive into Jackson's world of college football at the end. We also want to give out some game balls versus Colorado. Who else played well? We had a special teams block. We had 7 sacks. The offense wasn't always getting it done, but there were players on the offense that played well. We want to make sure that we talk about that. And I figured since, I like to record 1 million videos a day as it is, I might as well jump on here and do one again on this. I wanted to save this topic for tomorrow. Seemed like a good weekly topic, but I can't hold it in. I want to talk about it. So that's right. Mountain Dew is the secret weapon. Okay, so that's what you're going to get. Now let's give it to you. Rich Rodriguez, once again, does it. Just when you think he can't pull off something that is shocking again in this season, he does it in the form of 6'4", 230-pound running back / bandit linebacker named Curtis Jones Jr. I almost said Ty Edwards because they look so much alike. I'm in the works trying to get a hold of his high school coach, who is now coaching in Kentucky, I believe. But, I wanted to ask him about him. Obviously, when he was in high school, great high school running back. We know that. But he was 6 feet tall. He's grown 4 inches since then and probably gained 15 pounds of muscle. So he's a much different running back now, maybe a much more dangerous running back now. And I just wonder if he wouldn't be as good there as anywhere else. Honestly, I don't know. I mean, in short yardage, I don't know that I would go anywhere else, to be honest. No. So just to drive this point home a little bit, Rich Rodriguez, throughout his career, Jackson, has on several occasions made moves like this that have paid off big. And we're going to go through a couple here really quick. Everybody knows about Pat White. He was recruited primarily as a high school defensive back by LSU specifically, right? That was where he was going to go. He was projected for the secondary due to his overall speed. He was really great in coverage. But RichRod saw a dual threat potential, his arm strength and elusiveness, and he developed as a passer over the years and converted him immediately upon arrival. And we all know he became the all-time leading rusher in college football history at the time of his, years being done with college football. And then 32-5 over his years in West Virginia, 4 bowl games, 4-0 in bowl games. The only person to ever do that at that time. 6,000 rushing yards, 4,000, almost 5,000 rushing yards, 6,000 passing yards, back-to-back Big East titles. This just goes on and on. And then from there, he inherited another guy. He said, you know what, that worked. Let me try it again. And high school standout in Deer Park, Texas. We all know about another defensive back that was playing wide receiver as well, named Denard Robinson. He was not a quarterback, but Rich Rodriguez saw his potential and moved him to quarterback. where he exploded for 6,700 passing yards and 4,495 rushing yards, which is only a few off from what Pat White did, right? So he was the Big Ten Offensive Player of the Year as a sophomore, and really helped Michigan as an offensive team and was a Heisman finalist. I mean, all that. Rasheed Marshall at West Virginia was a walk-on wide receiver after being a high school slot receiver in North Hills, Pennsylvania. He was only 5'10", and RichRod's needed quarterback depth. He converted him during spring ball, and he said, and his accuracy is pretty dang good in 7-on-7 drills. And then all that, next thing you know, he starts for West Virginia and throws for 6,000 career passing yards, 56 touchdowns, 1,300 rushing yards, and led us to a Big East title and number 7 ranking in 2003. I remember it was yesterday. Anu Solomon, 3-star wideout in high school. Rich Rodriguez said, no, he's a quarterback. He didn't have the elite measurables, but he flipped him to play quarterback. And he started 22 games where he passed for 7,000 yards, 53 touchdowns, and almost 4,000 rushing yards, an all Pac-12 guy. They won the Pac-12. Incredible eye for athlete first recruits. Cam Vaughn, the current wide receiver at West Virginia, was a dual threat quarterback at Temple High School, and said, and most people thought he could play little college ball quarterback, but Rich Rodriguez needed depth at wide receiver and brought him in. And his 4.4 speed has been noted on multiple occasions. Incredible. 62 catches, 847 yards, and 7 touchdowns as a redshirt freshman, and he's played well at times this year. Curtis Jones Jr. becomes the latest in a long line of players that Rich Rodriguez has converted to play offense for his benefit. Is Rich Rod anything shy of a genius, Jackson?
I think he is a genius, especially with today's game against Colorado.
We didn't have anybody to do short yardage. And, I think Dior can play some short yardage for sure. But sometimes you need a guy that can really move the pile, right? And so, for my money anyways, I think that he just did an incredible job, as he always does, and he always does, at just knowing what to do in these scenarios. They're not easy to do. What I'm trying to say is these aren't easy scenarios to figure out. It's not like I'm just going to put Curtis Jones in at running back. No, you've got to teach him the position. You've got to teach him everything going on about that position. You've got to teach him how to do it at the collegiate level. Things are quite different. So, that's just my 2 cents on it. But at the end of the day, man, Rich Rodriguez continues to be impressive, and really has revitalized this program. What if I told you 3 weeks ago that this team would be knocking on the door of bowl eligibility, Jackson? What would you have said?
I would have said, I don't know if they can beat Houston, honestly. I don't see it happening. But after that victory over Houston last week, I've been thinking to myself, that is a possibility, and it could happen.
It could happen.
Even if you don't make a bowl game this year, you've already got some momentum for 2026.
For sure. You know what? I was saying it earlier. It feels like it was starting to feel like next year was going to be a lost cause too, because, we've got 11 seniors on defense. It's well noted, at least to start the year we did. And the big fear for a lot of us was like, gosh, man, what are we going to have left for next year? It's like, are we going to have to bring in 80 new guys again? Surely no. Or 60, even 60 is way too many. You really don't want to do more than 25. And as you start to look around the field now, you see a guy for next year at almost every position and a couple in some position groups. And you're like, okay, we might actually have something to work with for next year now. So Oh yeah. By the way, that thing you asked me to send you, I sent to your inbox over on X. I forgot to tell you, but yeah. So I think for me, guys, I'm excited about the future of this program right now, but I'm also excited about the present, and I would love to see us get to a bowl game. But before we talk about any more of that, I think we need to go to a break. On the other side, we're going to talk about game balls. I know Jackson had a couple guys that he wanted to talk about for game balls. I also want to bring up, I'm going to go over a few players I think can be on this roster for next year that we can build with. So a lot of exciting stuff to get to next. And this episode of Locked On West Virginia is going to be brought to you by Jackson's favorite DoorDash. Right now, when it comes to DoorDash, guys, did you know it's time to look back and crown this week's MVP who delivered, powered by DoorDash. Just like you can win every Saturday with DoorDash streaks, saving more every time you order. These players deliver when it mattered most. Let's break it down. For West Virginia, you could go for a lot of people, right? But I think you still have to go with Scotty Fox Jr., who continues to deliver in a big way. He's still been a steady force, even though he threw technically 2, but 1 was only on him today, interceptions. And when the pressure was on, he's come through no hesitation or delay. And if you've been watching week after week, this is not a fluke. I think Scotty Fox is on a streak. And just like Scotty Fox delivered for West Virginia, DoorDash delivers every Saturday with DoorDash streaks. Save every Saturday you order, stack it up all season. You can save up to $250, including 100 in DoorDash credits. Order the Saturday, keep the streak alive, fuel your game day only with DoorDash where the terms apply. Promo code coming in on 11/18. Segment 2, crack-a-doo.
Coffee do.
You got a coffee, dude? You're drinking coffee?
Especially since I'm going to be up till 1 a.m. tonight, keeping up what's going on in college football. Got to be in this business.
Yeah, absolutely. There's no doubt about it. And I know you've got a lot going on. So you said there was 2 or 3 guys on the defense that you liked.
Oh yeah.
For the game balls. Go ahead and give your guys out.
Man, Reed Carrico, where he had 5 tackles, 2 sacks, co-led the pass rush with 2 sacks, and was a disruptive force that helped collapse the pocket and force QB errors. Ben Bogle, the defensive tackle for the Mountaineers, 5 tackles, especially 4 solo tackles, 2 sacks, tied for team lead in sacks. Interior pressure was key to Colorado's minus 24 net rushing yards after sacks. Michael Coates, this is my last one on defense. The cornerback had 4 tackles, 3 solos, 1 fumble recovery. It was very timely as it halted a Colorado drive at the West Virginia 35.
Yeah, that's a good list. Ben Bogle specifically is somebody that I've been about all year. I think for me, and let me get to – hold on one second here. So I think for me anyways, obviously Dior Hubbard is a guy that if you at first glance you look at it and you're like, well, I mean, he had 60 rushing yards, right? It's impressive, but it's not anything to really write home about until you look and see that he also had an incredible game through the air. He had 6 catches for 94 yards, the leading receiver. He might be our best offensive weapon right now.
Oh, yeah.
And I would have been shocked had you told me that before the year. I just wouldn't have thought that, So Dior Hubbard, obviously. I also want to shout out, man, I have to. I think, Nick Cray has played extremely well lately on the offensive line the last couple of weeks. He has really grown. I mean, he was just a baby to start the year, sophomore. And now you're seeing this kid who everybody knew had a lot of talent really turn into something that you can really build around. At left tackle, I mean, all the issues come from the right side of the O-line. It's not really coming from his side. Doesn't always get enough push, but he's going to get stronger and better in the run game as we go along. and along with Landon Livingston, those two are corner pieces for next year. I'm so excited about them on offense. On defense, which you mentioned basically some of the best. Fred Perry, I put a tweet out, but I deleted it because I was in my emotions during the moment because he got that personal foul, and he's had 5 or 6 this year, right? You take the bad with the good though, because the good way overshadows the bad with Fred Perry. But man, he just sometimes, I don't want to say he's undisciplined. I'm a fat guy on my computer. I get it, right? In all seriousness, I'm joking, but obviously I'm not going to sit here and pretend like he has no discipline when he's just chiseled granite. Like, no, but I'm talking about emotional discipline. He makes mistakes emotionally when tensions are high that you really need your leaders not to do. And I just wish that he could be a little less volatile in those situations and keep people calm. I don't know what he said. They said that he verbally, he must have said something bad because they gave him a personal foul. I think it was unsportsmanlike conduct. It's just a shame because otherwise he has, as far as a player, he has no weaknesses for this defense. It's pretty incredible. And then I'll also probably have to toss out there, somebody you didn't mention, which it's fine. You mentioned, I think you mentioned Ben Bogle. You mentioned Reed Carrico as well, didn't you?
Yep.
Okay.
And Michael Coach Jr.
Okay. Well, then I'll go Bandit Room. I'm going to go right beside each other. Devin Grant and Marshawn Oxley, who both had a sack apiece today. Those guys get game balls. They've all been disruptive at different points in the season. And although Oxley hasn't come on as strong as I thought he might, he's been there at times. Devin Grant absolutely has been just an absolute find. I mean, he's having an all Big 12 honorable mention type season, which is still good. I mean, may not be all Big 12. I think he's at like 5 sacks, maybe 6, but he could end up with an all Big 12 season. So he's on the cusp. There's just so many good pass rushes this year in the Big 12. All right, so I'm going to go over. Do you have any other comments, Jackson, before I move on?
I was thinking Cam Vaughn was a good one, and like Curtis Jones Jr. Like putting in Curtis Jones Jr. That was
yeah, duh. Of course, Curtis Jones Jr. Yeah, Cam Vaughn is. He just, today, Jackson, he kind of had one of his worst performances as a Mountaineer. He has incredible performances. He hasn't had that I can remember, very many bad performances at West Virginia. Today, he just, I don't know. He dropped a couple passes. He was really active in blocking on the perimeter and was like physical and things like that. I would love to see him get a little stronger next year just so that he can, because whenever he gets a guy like McCutcheon, like last week, Latrell McCutcheon, who's one of the best cover corners in all college football, not even the Big 12. He beat him for a touchdown, but he also got locked up and jammed up several times by McCutcheon in that game, which is, so I would love to see him be able to get off the line when being physical with him. But I'm going to go through and just really quick here, look at a list. I have to pull up our roster really quick to do this, but there are guys. So let's see what West Virginia has for next year, I guess is what I'm trying to say. How many players can you look at for next year and say, okay, West Virginia's got a chance there. He's got a chance there. They got a chance there. I mean, we're going to have to buy some of these guys back, and we get that. But there's some guys you just want to let go as well, right? So we get that too. So let's go by position here. All right. Starting with Bandits. I don't know how many of these are coming back outside of Curtis Jones. Marshawn Oxley can come back next year. We haven't seen hide nor hair of Keenan Eck. I'm not sure why. Maybe he's just not ready yet. He'll have a year to get stronger, and maybe he'll be able to play next year. But obviously, Jamori Robinson is gone. Braden Siders, unfortunately, gone. He had a great game today, too, with pressure. Curtis Jones Jr. is probably one of your 2 or 3 building blocks for next year to build around, obviously. especially if he starts playing running back too. He'll be
yeah.
the number one guy, maybe besides Scotty. Marshawn Oxley is a
You're
guy.
getting me excited about Curtis Jones Jr. for the rest of this year and next year. Good buddy.
Yeah, I mean he's a guy that can rush the passer. He's a guy that can run the ball. I mean that's crazy. Obviously you're going to lose Coach Jr., which sucks. Jordan Scruggs, you're going to lose. Keyshawn Robinson is somebody we haven't seen a lot from this year. Jason Chambers is gone. Let's see. Who else are we looking at here? No. I'm not going to name every player because it makes no sense to, because some of these guys just aren't players. Nick Taylor, who we haven't seen a lot of here the last couple of weeks, but he had some really good games, and he's only a freshman or sophomore. So he's a guy that you look at that can be good next year. Unfortunately, Eddie Kelly's gone. You're going to have to replace a lot of the D-line, which you can. You just got to spend the money. I'm not going to mention any freshmen that aren't playing either. Corey McIntyre has played a lot lately, and he's playing pretty well. So Corey McIntyre's coming on. He just needs more experience. Devin Grant's gone, which sucks. You would love to have him back. Hassani Redwood can come back next year. Nate Gabriel can come back next year. Elijah Simmons can come back next year. Quentin Goins, Eddie B will be gone. Adam Tomczyk will have another year. So that's somebody that, Hammond Russell, unfortunately, will be gone. Let's see. John Lewis is gone. He made a play today. Ben Cutter will be back next year. Our linebackers, man. We got a lot of linebackers potentially back. I think we have to get more athletic at linebacker. We need to go get really, really fast guys like a Studsman that, Chase Wilson has been at times this year, because Chase Wilson's going to be gone. But Ben Bogle will be back next year. Maybe he's your top linebacker next year alongside Ashton Woods. You've got a lot of really good linebackers coming back next year. You've got Ben Cutter, Chase Wilson, and Ben Bogle, or not Chase Wilson. You got Ben Cutter. You've got Ashton Woods. You've got Caden Bizer's gone. So Ashton Woods, though, and Ben Bogle are the two I get excited about. Ben Cutter also some, as well as Cam Torber, who I think will be an impact player next year. He's a freshman. He hasn't played much. Unfortunately, Fred Perry's gone. Will Davis, haven't seen him. Zay Jennings, haven't seen him. I wish we could say so. We've been hearing Chris Filippo's name a little bit more. Nick Cray, foundational building block piece for next year. Redshirt sophomore, 6'6", 316. Got to have him back next year. Got to make that happen somehow. You just have to, unless you're going to rebuild the whole O-line with a lot of money. Donovan Haslam, another guy that could be back next year. Josh Isosa will be a guy that will be another year older next year. Robbie Martin, who we all expect to take another step at some point, potentially for next year. He'll probably be a guard. He'll play center, but Livingston obviously is going to be there. Malik Agbo can be back next year. Lennon Livingston can be back next year. So you've got a lot of offensive linemen, and you can bring in 2 or 3 guys to really compete and figure out who your best guys are. That's exciting. Obviously, Crawford's gone. Xavier Bosley will be back next year, and I don't have any clue why he hasn't played any. It's wild to me that he hasn't. And then you get to the quarterbacks, and really the only name that matters are Scotty Fox and Khalil Wilkins. Outside of that, I don't know who else would want to even attempt to be back next year, to be honest. At running back, you've got obviously Dior Hubbards, Ty Edwards, if he gets a medical red shirt, which I don't know what the situation is there, but we would think that he qualifies for one. Sincere Bowers, obviously, is another big name for that. And then outside of that, really, you probably need to go get a couple people. And you can start looking at safety. Israel Boyce is playing really well. He's a sophomore. That's another piece, right? Let's see. Derek Carter Jr. is gone. Justin Harrington's gone. Kikora Tarnu is gone. I haven't seen him at all lately. Darren Lewis is gone. Jason Cross will be back. He's a freshman. Julian Horton is a freshman. Let's see. Grayson Barnes is gone. Jacob Barrick is gone. Greg Ginross, haven't seen him at all. Ryan Ward, another big foundational piece for the future. He's only a freshman. He's come on really strong the last couple of weeks. Cam Vaughn is probably number 1 or number 2 on the list. he's right there in the top 5. I mean, you can rotate a couple different guys wherever, but Cam Vaughn, obviously. Jaden Bray should be back next year. He hadn't played a snap, hardly outside of the first game. I mean, just insane. But hopefully he can get that foot fixed. Gerard Bowie's gone. Darrell Williams probably going to be gone. He's a junior, but he hasn't played. Justin Smith-Brown is gone. Jeff Weimer, unfortunately, gone. Christian Hamilton made a couple plays today. He'll be back. Logan Ramper hasn't played at all. I missed on that one. Rodney Gallagher will be back. That's a big one there. Let's see. And that's pretty well it. But that's a lot of guys you can build around. Preston Fox, by the way, is another game ball guy. I meant to mention Preston Fox, game ball. Why? Because he catches punt after punt after punt, and he's never loses yards. He never makes the wrong choice, and he never muffs the punts. It's one of the hardest jobs in college football that nobody talks about, but you got all these guys around you. They're clapping, they're shouting. You've got to concentrate on that football and then not drop it. It's hard to do when nobody's around. Well, I mean, for a regular person, but maybe not for them. Anyways, lots of big-time foundational pieces for next year, Jackson. It's not as dreary as we once thought it was.
Well, I'll tell you this. From what you're saying about West Virginia for this year and next year, it's got me playing that little I forget the song that's the Christmas music, but it's that little that metal Christmas song that dun 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 dun.
Yeah.
Got that song stuck in my mind in the background right now.
Yeah, buddy. I appreciate it.
There we go.
All right, let's go around the Big 12 and look at some scores with Jackson Johnson right after the break. This episode of Locked On West Virginia going to be brought to you by our friends, and we got good friends, at Supply House. With Supply House, guys, the opening whistle can blow on a repair, and you can get your crew moving forward with Supply House. Order today and see parts on your doorstep tomorrow as over 280,000 plumbing, HVAC, and electrical items from the most trusted brands in the business. Their real-time inventory and honest lead times keep you from punting projects, while their industry-leading customer service always has your blind side covered. Need parts fast for a project? Supply House has next-day delivery. Talk about a game changer. Join the free Trade Master program today. Score serious perks like priority shipping, lower prices, and a dedicated support line. Visit supplyhouse.com today, guys, as we absolutely, positively love you and want you to join SH College 5 for 5% off your first order. That's supplyhouse.com, where you can find real people and get real service. Back with Jackson Johnson.
Ooh, here we go.
Round college football, Big 12 style.
Oh, man. We
can do a couple other ones.
Oh, man. Houston winning a tight one last night against Central Florida. It looked like Central Florida was going to win, but they blew it against the Houston Cougars. Central Florida blows it in Scott Frost style. That's just Central Florida for you for right now. Texas Tech College Game Day went to town for Lubbock, Texas, and Texas Tech chewed up BYU like a chicken nugget, shut them out for the first 3 quarters.
Yeah.
Unfortunately for the BYU Cougars. And I don't want to call it early, but I can't help but feel like Texas Tech is your Big 12 champions for this season.
Agreed. Yeah, it's definitely, it's tough, right? I think they definitely got exposed a little bit. I think Aaron Roderick, the offensive coordinator, is going to be called out a lot here this week because of the cautious approach they took to the game. You said BYU Texas Tech, right?
BYU Texas Tech.
Okay. I was making sure I heard the right game. Yeah. So I mean, I had a lot of thoughts on it. I gave them earlier on another show, but I'll spare everybody on all of it. But for the most part, I felt like Texas Tech is the dominant team. They're by far the better team. On a neutral field, maybe it's a little closer, There were 3 turnovers from BYU in that game, and BYU itself dropped a couple interceptions. Alexander dropped a pick that would have been just a monster play in the game. And I felt like my biggest criticism on this game, Jackson, was that they didn't let Bear be Bear. He's an alien for a reason. He's one of the best freshman quarterback we've seen come along in a while for a reason. And they didn't let him and turn him loose. And you could say that's because they were on the road playing on a hostile environment, blah, blah, blah. But you're undefeated with this guy now. It's like he's now at this point in the year, he's no longer a freshman. I don't know. Just my thoughts on it. And he's getting, a lot of east and west instead of north south for them. And I get it. You're trying to stay away from that $7 million pair of defensive linemen that Texas Tech has. That's the number, $7 million they spend on their defensive line alone. You want to win in college football? Sink $7 million into your defensive line, Jackson.
Oh, man. That's a lot.
So much as you have on chicken nuggets.
Oh, there you go. Well, in Kansas, Arizona had a wild finish as Quincy Craig scored the game-winning touchdown for the Arizona Wildcats in a 24-20 fashion over Kansas. And Iowa State, you want to talk about a really wild finish. Aiden Flora went Flora in the punt return for 79 yards to get that lead in a 2017 victory over TCU as Iowa State ends that losing streak and gets back on the winning side of things. They've been disappointing this year, but they look to end that disappointing season with a bang. And Indiana, some of you saw Indiana, Penn State. Now, you want to talk about really wild finishes. Those toes were in bounds. Holy Toledo. Omar Cooper Jr. for the win. Oh, my God. That was an amazing catch they got from Fernando Mendoza. I mean, like, after today, there's a lot of people saying Fernando for Heisman.
Yeah. What did you think about – I got to ask you about this. What did you think about Gus's call?
Oh, I mean,
he sounded like a banshee screaming.
Oh, man. I always love it when he just goes, over in the middle. Oh!
Yeah. Yeah, he definitely puts a lot of energy into it. I think I have 6 standout moments from that game. Mendoza had an 18-yard touchdown scramble in the first quarter on a broken play where he basically dodges the pressure and bulldozes into the end zone for Indiana's first score. Sharp had a forced fumble in the second quarter where he put a helmet on the ball on the Penn State 22, and that turned into points, swung the halftime momentum. It was 17-7. You talk about that middle 8, right? Becker had that really crazy third down catch in his own end zone. He high pointed that ball for 25, 30 yards, which really prevented that third 3 and out and kept Indiana's foot on the gas, talking about that middle 8 again. Singleton had the game tying run, obviously, that gave Penn State the briefest of leads, 24-20, when they thought maybe they could, pull this thing out for a minute, and just didn't happen for them because there was a pick 6, that really shocked everybody that happened. You underthrow the ball, Mac does. And then the interception at the Indiana 35 nearly sealed the upset. I think we all thought that was going to happen. And then you mentioned it, Omar Cooper toe tapped it on 3rd and 8 from the Penn State 8. So that's an incredible play.
My buddy Jeffrey was happy about it. I know friend Jacob at Locked On Hoosiers was happy about that.
Jacob Goins.
Yep, Jacob.
Yeah, he's a good dude. Yeah, he's a good guy.
Man. And Iowa, Oregon, that was another wild finish. Oh my goodness, that was like Gronowski scoring that leading touchdown, and then we see Dante Moore bringing his best self, in that game-winning drive. That was awesome in of itself, right there.
Dante Moore, another young quarterback that plays well beyond his years. I mean, he had a horrible game, but at the end of the day, they got the W, right?
Oh,
What
yeah.
was his overall stats? He didn't have hardly any stats going into
Oh,
that
he had
last drive.
112 passing yards. I mean, yeah, he had 1 interception, but he had 46 rushing yards. But I think
Right.
more about that game-winning drive, especially when he threw out that 24-yard pass to Benson when it was at the Oregon 49 and got it 5 yards past field goal range to the Iowa 24. Like, man.
Did he earn himself a chicken nugget?
Oh, yeah. He did.
Well, this has been fun. Appreciate you for coming on, man.
Always, man.
Find Jackson at Voice of College Football Alabama show. You can also find Jackson on just on a whole list of podcasts around the country. He is a very, very sought after guest around the country. He might be on Rutgers one day. He might be on Indiana the next. You just never know. He'll be on Locked On West Virginia quite often, jumping into his world of college football that he just loves so much. But thank you so much, Jackson, for coming on. He also calls into Feinbaum. He literally does it all. He eats chicken nuggets, the whole thing. Thank you guys
Especially
for
that
joining.
Chick-fil-A honey mustard.
Especially that Chick-fil-A honey mustard. Absolutely. Thanks for joining in, guys. We got to run. We're a little over here. West Virginia gets a big win. I think that's important. Let's see what we can do at Arizona State next week. Jackson and I will pick that game here in a couple of days. Should be a fun one. Until then, guys, for Jackson, who wants you to, what we want you to do?
We want you to roll damn tide here, but Mountaineer Paul on Locked On West Virginia would like for you to cue them country roads.
Cue those country roads. We're out of here.